Still sharing it. Oh, yeah. Should do that. Down, that's wrong. I'll put that up there. What I wanted to do there. Did you get in, Danny?
Oh, I'll try.
Yeah, you're good. Okay. This is a lot of work. Oh, you have to download it on that?
It's making an update.
Oh.
See how
It
fast
went
internet
fast.
is. See how fast our internet is, yeah.
What's this
The
back?
one
No.
time I did that and it didn't, like I couldn't get on the
Yeah.
whole meeting.
Oh, right.
Okay.
Okay.
I have 7 o'clock. Are you ready?
All set.
All right. Call the meeting to order. Start with roll call, please.
Lane,
Here.
Hanamichael,
Here.
Daniels,
Here.
McMarion,
Here.
Tripp,
Here.
all are present.
All right. I would invite you all to please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, our first item tonight is our consent agenda tonight. On the consent agenda, we have approved the minutes from the May 1st City Council meeting. Item B, approved pay ordinance number 997. Item C, approved resolution 2064, authorizing consumption and sale of alcohol at Riverfest Park for the summer concert series. Item D, approved contract renewal with iWork Systems, Inc. Item E, approved bids for the 2025 sidewalk program. Item F, approved resolution 2065, authorizing the consumption and sale of alcohol in the DeSoto Common Consumption Area for the summer concert series. And item G, approved bids for the 2025 pavement marking program. Is there any item any council person would like to remove for further discussion? If not, may I have a motion to approve the consent agenda, please?
I'll make a motion, we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion of the motion? Roll call, please.
Tripp,
Yes.
McMarion,
Yes.
Daniels,
Yes.
Hanamichael,
Yes.
Lane,
Yes.
motion carries.
All right, item 2 is called to public. Members of the public are welcome to use this time to comment about any matter relating to city business not listed on tonight's agenda. The comments that are discussed under call to public may or may not be acted on by the council during this meeting. There is a 4-minute time limit. Does anyone wish to address the council under call to public? Please come forward, state your name and address for the record.
My name is Mark Gildy Jr. I reside at 30515 West 95th Street. Good evening, Mayor and council members. I'm here to speak about the need for caution as we continue navigating the financial risks tied to the Panasonic project. I urge each of you to read the April 2025 Heckinger Report article detailing the Panasonic battery plant here in DeSoto. While the investment brings short-term optimism, the long-term outlook is uncertain and deserves some serious attention. A Princeton analysis cited in the article predicts a 40% drop in electric vehicle battery demand by 2030, potentially putting half of all EV battery plants in the U.S. at risk of closure. These are not talking points, these are data-backed projections that could directly affect our local economy. Mayor Walker, when you were interviewed for this article, you acknowledged that you were distressed by the federal government's decision to move away from electric vehicles. He said, quote, even if Panasonic shuttered their doors before they open, we're not going to go bankrupt, end quote. But I would caution, avoiding bankruptcy should not be the goal. Fiscal responsibility should be. We may not go bankrupt, but there would be severe financial repercussions for the taxpayers of DeSoto. Our city has already invested millions into infrastructure, roads, and utilities, assuming a long-term return from Panasonic. If that return falters, the financial burden will land squarely on our residents. The Heckinger report also includes a sobering comparison to Foxconn in Wisconsin, a tech project that ended up costing local governments over $300 million with little to show for it. We cannot afford for a similar situation to occur in DeSoto. As the 2026 city budget will be finalized later this year, I urge this council to plan conservatively, focusing on reducing the general fund budget, avoiding unsustainable spending, and being transparent with taxpayers about the financial risks we are taking. This governing body must do a better job of being transparent with the residents who are ultimately funding this project. Council members and the mayor are privy to more information than the public, and if there are doubts about Panasonic's long-term viability, and there clearly are, those concerns should be shared openly. Pretending everything is fine while privately acknowledging risks only erodes the public's trust. The people of DeSoto deserve honesty, not selective optimism or silence. Given these circumstances, the city must also exercise extreme caution when considering any new tax abatements or incentives. Continuing to offer reckless incentives only worsens our risk exposure. Additionally, I believe that if the situation warrants it, the city does have authority to rescind the TIF agreement with Panasonic. The Kansas Supreme Court decision in the City of Topeka versus Mid-America Motorsports Park confirms that municipalities can lawfully terminate such agreements under certain conditions, especially when the promised development fails to materialize as intended. I urge this council to lead with honesty, act with fiscal discipline, and put the long-term interest of the DeSoto taxpayers ahead before it's too late. Thank you.
All right, thank you. I'm going to clarify a couple of your comments that I believe are inaccurate. First of all of the funds for the infrastructure that are being built were not out of city general funds. They came directly from Panasonic. Those are not city funds. Those are funds invested by the company. So there are no city funds at risk for the development of the Panasonic plant.
If the project were to fail, though, like you said, there would still be a significant impact on the DeSoto taxpayer.
There's no obligation on the city taxpayer to fund anything for Panasonic, the plant, or the infrastructure. That money's already
Okay,
in hand.
I said what I said. Thank you.
Any other comments? All right, we'll move on. We don't have any old business, so we will go to item 4A, consider Southwest Growth Area Plan recommendations.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. As you know, we've been studying the Southwest growth area for quite some time, and this is the finish line for this project. The project was presented to the Planning Commission at the April 22nd meeting, and the Planning Commission approved this item and is recommending that the council also adopt this as policy for this area. There were some comments, rather minor. There's some discussion about 99th Street and how it might move through the area. But once again, this is kind of generalized map as far as the land use plan. And I know we've got a rezoning request that the applicants are interested on where 99th Street. Mike and I have had discussions with the applicants on that road, that location, and do think there's some ways we can work through all that. With that, as you know, the council directed staff and had a steering committee to move through this process, also to develop a marketing plan for the residents of the area, which is all part of this consideration of acceptance for the Southwest Growth Area Plan. With that, I will introduce Abby Eckberg. You know her. She's led the project for Confluence, and we'll go ahead and take you through the plan itself. If there's any questions, certainly we'll make any amendments to that. Also, Jay with HDR is here as well. So with that, I will turn this over to them. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Thank you for having us this evening to talk about the Southwest Growth Area Plan. I think we might have a different PDF for our presentation. Sorry.
Let's see.
I should be able to give this in my sleep at this point of this presentation.
Where was that, Brad, was that uploaded in another format?
It should be in there.
It's in-
pretty monster file.
This is not it?
Yeah.
We can just do a page turn if you want to. That's all right as well. I can just,
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, that works
was
for
it, Was it the same presentation you gave the planning commission?
yep.
Let's see if we can luck out and find that. I apologize, yeah, just give me a moment.
Sorry about that.
Brad, it was in the planning commission
I don't
packet,
think the
wasn't it?
presentation was. I know where it is in the file. If you give me a minute, I can
Sorry
figure
about
out that.
this. Abby, maybe do
Yeah.
we want to just do a page turn
Yeah, that's
on this?
perfectly
I'm
fine for me.
sorry.
Well, I'll give you the highlights from the start of this at least. So this has been we started this project back in late 2024, early 2025. It's been a pretty great process so far, working with city staff and our steering committee to develop out this project. It's been a mix of residents, property owners, local organizations, and so on. Really helping kind of guide the conversations here. So throughout the process, we have had public engagement. So we had a community listening session back in December where we hosted people in this room, had a presentation, did a few variety public input activities where we had a mapping activity, some dot voting boards, and really just a great and candid conversation with a lot of the residents and people interested in the project itself. I don't know if you want to navigate to maybe the existing conditions section quick.
Sure.
Or here, actually, we'll pause on this one. So as you all know, we had the primary and secondary study area. So the primary one being the more kind of concentrated focus of the plan and effort, with getting a little bit more detail that you'll see later in the plan with the master plan development and the 3D visualizations, but recognizing that this will have kind of a ripple effect to the adjacent properties. I wanted to make sure that that is cohesively planned for in the future. And so the primary study area being bounded by K10, Lexington to the east, 103rd on the south, and Sunflower Road to the west. The secondary study area having 91st to the north, Edgerton Road to the west, 103rd, and Sunflower there as well as its bounds. So a lot of obvious investment and kind of considerations for us there as we move throughout the planning effort. Just keep scrolling.
You just stopped me.
I gotcha. So throughout phase one, and you can keep scrolling as you want here, Mike, we did an inventory of the existing conditions. So looking at the residents of the area, the demographics, obviously a lot of the investments, and Jay can touch on those a bit more as well, that are really playing critical features and components into the decision-making and trajectory of this area. So I actually might pass it over to Jay quick to talk about the infrastructure while we're here.
Let's do that.
Yeah.
I'll go back up, Jay.
Yeah,
You
absolutely.
want to talk about K10?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. I'm excited to talk to you about infrastructure. The tale of the Southwest growth area really, in terms of infrastructure, is a tale of building on previous investments and success in the area already. So obviously the improvements along Lexington Avenue, 103rd Street are a big improvement to circulation in the area, and then Astor Parkway as well. K10 is a corridor that's being studied by KDOT right now. They're looking at really a 50-year plan for K10 and what that looks like from basically for the entire length of Johnson County And that impacts this area directly because the interchange at Lexington Avenue and K10 is planned for a potential major improvement that in the past was not possible because of the location of the railroad tracks, with some negotiation with the railroad and changes of right-of-way. That opens up a possibility there, which could change the landscape of transportation through the area pretty significantly. We've got a lot of improvements that have been made, but then there's a lot of roadways throughout the area that have not been improved still. And that was really a focus of what we looked at with infrastructure, both the roadways that exist that have right-of-way, but then also, as Brad mentioned, 99th Street and Rowan Road, some of these collector roads that have not been constructed yet, and talked about the importance of expanding those as well. Same story for the other infrastructure that's not transportation focused, the water, wastewater, and then the private utilities, the electric, gas, communications. There's a lot of investment happening in the area with expanded water treatment, expanded wastewater treatment plant, new water tower being constructed at 103rd and Lexington Avenue. And then the sewer benefit districts, the Ashford Benefit District that is under construction now, and then the newly approved 95th Street Sewer Benefit District. And with those and the 5-mile sewer improvement, the entire primary study area will have access to sewers and water capacity, and much of the secondary study area will as well. And I'll turn it back over.
Okay, cool. So as I mentioned, we did a series of stakeholder interviews where we met virtually with people for about 45-minute conversations and really got to learn what their vision for the study area was. We also had the mapping activity, the image voting, and then our steering committee really kind of being our guiding forces throughout this effort. From the public input, it was heard loud and clear that people wanted this to be a very walkable area, to have connections. Obviously, transportation has been very well taken care of, and a lot of the city efforts with making sure that there are shared use paths and sidewalks on both sides of the roads really support that effort. It's just making sure that whatever internal development occurs also is connected and gets people from point A to point B without maybe having to be car dependent. And so you can kind of see some of the uses here highlighted of, again, well landscaped, well lit, walkable. We did hear a call for some event space, so making sure that there's a center where people could host meetings, have graduation parties, have weddings, any kind of larger gatherings of that size would be applicable here as well. And then moving into really kind of the meat of the plan here, we had kind of the 4 guiding principles, so making sure that we create a walkable, well-connected development, preserving the character of DeSoto today, encouraging density in those opportunity areas and a variety of building types, and then maybe what the kind of character of the area could be. Is it civic focused? Is it healthcare focused? Is it kind of a variety of those in which we support kind of thriving communities there? And then it's back to Jay.
We do this as a presentation. We don't switch it back and forth quite so much.
You guys are doing a great job adapting to this, by the way. Yeah, this is good work.
Excellent. So in terms of the proposed plan, there's a lot of detail in there. It's very dense, a lot of very specific recommendations about managing development, managing it so that we end up with a resilient community in terms of infrastructure, that we're thinking about all those different aspects. So in terms of utility infrastructure, a lot of that backbone has been constructed with the sewer water infrastructure. But getting into those details of how that gets built out along the roadways, primarily for most of the infrastructure, but then also some detailed recommendations about sewer and sewer access so make sure all the property owners in the area can access the interceptor sewers that are being constructed. In terms of transportation, we did a pretty extensive traffic study looking at the traffic that could be generated by the entire site, and then went through both with the primary study area build out and the secondary study build out and project those traffic volumes so we could figure out what those roadway requirements would be. And an important part of this, too, is that collector roadway network, because what we heard from the public was that they wanted a small town, walkable kind of neighborhood, And if we don't have those collector roads, what we end up with is a lot of concentrated traffic flow, a need for 4-lane and 6-lane roads, which really doesn't have that same character as the rest of DeSoto. So, so looking at that traffic flow and making recommendations on roadway lanes and configurations for each of the roads through the area. We have some different graphics about what those could look like. Also, you'll notice in each one of these sidewalks on both sides, a trail on one side, bike lanes, medians, landscaping, lighting, all those things we know are important to make it safe, accessible, and a pleasant experience for the users. The remainder of these recommendations really are about the development and moving forward, because we have the recommendations about the major public streets and the collector roads, but then it's important how the sites are laid out because we know those serve traffic throughout the site and are important to the user's experience through the area for transportation. And I'll turn it back to Abby.
All right, we're on the tail end, I promise. From the walkable kind of driven need in the community, we did propose a series of shared use paths and sidewalks, but these really just reflect the city's already in place policy of any new roadways being constructed, having a shared use path on one side, the sidewalk on the other. The real kind of difference in this map here that you see on the screen is taking advantage of the floodplain or future floodplain located throughout the study areas. That would be likely areas that aren't developable, but we could still have recreation opportunities there to connect people and take advantage of kind of the nice scenery and opportunities to connect there. And so within the Southwest Growth Area itself, we have proposed updates to your future land use plan, which is currently adopted under your current comprehensive plan. From this, the land use categories do remain reflective of what's in place today. There were a few tweaks, I believe, to Parks and Recreation and public and semi-public, since public and semi-public originally included parks, and so we've just separated those two out now. But really, those are maintaining status quo with what you have present today. Within your commercial and mixed-use development definitions, we did split those up a little bit more to make commercial a bit more horizontally connected, whereas mixed use is a bit more vertically connected. So that's the real differentiator between those two. And then a few precedent images to kind of set the scene of what we're looking for here before we jump into the proposed future land use plan. Back at our joint workshop, we did hear that maybe we had a little bit too much mixed use, and so we wanted to get a little bit more detail and kind of guidance on what that development could look like. So we went back and defined those out a bit more in conjunction with the master plan that we have, the detailed plan that's on the next page as well. So each color obviously represents something. The yellow, oranges, and browns are residential, so yellow being single-family residential up to brown being the kind of multifamily, higher density apartments. Red being your more horizontally connected commercial, seeing those being located at your kind of hard corners. So Lexington and 95th, 103rd on that kind of bend coming around, Edgerton and 103rd and up north even for some opportunities there as development pressures maybe would allow. Yeah, you can keep going, sorry. And so then in the next page, you'll see how we've divvied that up just a little bit more on the detailed master plan. So providing a little bit more context as to what this could look like in true development form. Again, this is just one opportunity and one draft of what this could look like in an in-built form. So this would likely evolve over time, especially as different developers come to you all with bigger ideas and different ideas to consider and approve or have conversations around using this as a guiding document. And then as part of that effort, we also developed out 3D renderings because I can look at a 2D map all day long and understand what you guys or what we're trying to mean from different development types, but it's better to try to visualize in the built environment of what these heights could look like, what do they look like in your roadway, what do they look like from a full development standpoint as well. And so these are helpful within the marketing document that we also developed out for the residents of the area, should they wish to look for opportunities to sell their parcels and trying to help them get better situated there as well. And with that, that is the conclusion of our very improvised presentation tonight.
Yeah.
And we can answer any questions that you all might have.
All right.
Thank you.
Any questions from council on the presentation? Comments? Action on this item, Mike?
Yeah, I think just accept the plan, approve the plan. You could accept it as a final document, but in order to incorporate it as official policy, we'll need to come back with revisions to the comprehensive plan. That'll start with the public hearing process at the Planning Commission. We might also want to consider some other revisions to incentive policies or other zoning regulation revisions, but the formal adoption of those would be a separate process from this tonight. It's important tonight to get a resolution conclusion to this phase so that we kind of go into the implementation phase of this as the next part. And that marketing brochure, until we have some buy-in here tonight from the council, that will allow us to give the marketing brochure to the community, the developers, and the residents for that purpose.
Okay.
So, Mike, to that end, yeah, I mean, really how this gets formally adopted is in the comp plan. Is this something that will proceed on through their agenda as opposed to waiting for an annual comp plan update? Or will this start to appear on the agenda for a?
Yeah, we intend to roll straight into that. Yeah.
Okay, good.
And once council accepts, then the marketing plan needs to be presented for the residents that are looking for it.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, I don't know that there's anything legal, a legal hurdle here, but it's a message that's come from the city council. It's a very much, a vision for the area, and I think without like an approval motion on the plan, that would be hard to represent that as binding.
Okay. Just an informal motion then to accept the
Yeah,
plan as
just-
presented.
Yeah.
So moved.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion of the motion? Roll call, please.
Tripp,
Yes.
Lane,
Yes.
Hanamichael,
Yes.
Daniels,
Yes.
McMoran.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right.
All right.
Thank you both.
Thank you very much.
Moving on, item B, consider ordinance 2648 rezoning 8.6 acres from R1 to M1 located north of Clearview City.
All right, thank you, Mayor and Council. What you have before you is a rezoning, and it actually follows our Southwest Growth Area plan, so that's good news. I've been through these things before, and certainly the first rezoning is a change to the plan, but we are following it as recommended. So with this rezoning, as you can see on page 2 of the staff report, the current zoning is R1. It's that green area between Clearview City and the M1 above is Lumber 1. The RUR area to the left of Sunflower is in unincorporated Johnson County. The RUR to the right of Sunflower, the eastern part, is actually within the city of DeSoto, and the R3 in the C2 Clearview City, which still has not been recorded yet, so that's why we still show it as a C2 item, is also within the city of DeSoto. As you can see in the aerial view on page 3, this is a vacant tract. It has been zoned R1 for as long as I've been with the city of DeSoto. I've had several developers or other interested parties look at this property wanting to change it to some sort of different use. So it has not had any real consideration for the R1 zoning designation. So there has been a purchase of that property, and the applicant is requesting a change from R1 to M1 light industrial. I have seen a preliminary site plan. They want to do something at this point similar to the carriage houses, but it's more contractor storage type of use. Anyway, I'll go through the zoning compatibility factors. The character of the neighborhood has been vacant for quite some time. Lumber 1 is to the north, Clearview City to the south. We talked about that a little bit earlier. The R1 use has not really been ever pursued by anyone at this point. And I said previous conversations have all been some sort of development to commercial or light industrial, which is what the present application is about. As far as the other things, we're looking forward to, as the Southwest Growth Area Plan's recommending a higher and more intense use for this area, and this certainly falls within that designation. As far as utilities, there's a water main along Sunflower Road. It's operated by Water District 7. Access to the electricity is on site. Sunflower Road has been recently overlaid and is in good shape, but it's still to county standards or rural kind of use, so there will be some improvements there that are necessary. We did talk a little bit about the Southwest Growth Area Plan 99th Street, cutting through this area, and that's something that we'll be working with the owners of the property and the engineers on that site. One thing also, it's important to note that the proposed zoning, how would it potentially adversely affect this area? We do go through a site planning process. We've had some preliminary meetings, as I've mentioned, and look forward to working through and finding a resolution to the 99th Street, but also access to Sunflower Road and trying to neutralize any kind of negative development issues for this location. Environmental impacts, don't see that there would be any significant environmental impacts from the rezoning, and don't see any reasons why it would detrimentally affect the nearby property. Ultimately, as I mentioned earlier, the future land use plan, which we're now into the process of formally adopting after the acceptance of the South and West Growth Area Plan by the City Council, and we'll be using this as our policy guide until it is formally adopted by Planning Commission and City Council, showing these tracks as light industrial. The Planning Commission did recommend to the City Council approval of this item, and staff also recommends approval of this rezoning request to the City Council. So with that, I'll stand for any questions you may have.
All right, any questions for staff on this?
So this is a rezoning to M1, not C.
Correct. It is M1. R1's to M1.
The ordinance says C2.
Yeah, that's why I was asking.
Oh, okay.
I believed it was M1, but the ordinance actually says C2.
Yeah, yeah, if you don't mind, we can just table it and I'll go fix that.
Table it till later in the meeting?
Yeah.
Okay. Do we want to finish discussion? If there is any?
Sure, we can. Any questions?
Question on the Alta survey that's included for the boundary on the parcel. I'm presuming in this, that was the one that was included in the rezoning packet. I assume that's just for reference. It's not incorporated in any way in the zoning ordinance, because I caught that error on the road right away. And that has not been replaced in this document. So I'm assuming this has no,
We don't reference this. you know,
no binding, no filing, no reference in.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's not, I don't think this is officially part of the application.
Okay.
The pending sewer benefit districts don't cross or provide sewer.
Yeah, they will actually, Mayor. Thank you for bringing that up. They will have
I noticed
access
that
to
was a
sanitary
negative.
sewer when that benefit, or when that line is improved. But yeah, they are part of that benefit, or will have access to
They'll have
sanitary
they're not
sewer.
in the-
Yeah,
they
but they'll
will
have access to it.
Should they choose to. Okay. Any other questions?
So we just need a motion to table until further in
Yep.
the agenda. So I'll make a motion that we table this item and pick it back up later in the agenda. At your discretion, Mayor.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All
Aye.
opposed? All right, we'll take this up a little bit later. Item C, consider ordinance 2649 vacating a portion of 8150 Shawnee Street.
Yes, council, this is a request by the developers of the Rio apartments, Dustin Baker's here. This is, I passed out a little map here showing this is tiny little strip of city right-of-way. The city doesn't have any use for it. There are no utilities in it, so staff recommends that we vacate this. It is a public hearing item, so we'll need to open the public hearing and close it. And then the ordinance that's in your packet requires the necessary findings under the statute.
And I'm assuming this was just somehow omitted from the previous vacation action that we took for the remainder of the right-of-way?
This, not exactly. We intentionally,
Oh,
because when you
save this as
vacate
an
right
easement?
of way, it goes to the neighboring property.
Gotcha.
So we initially left this, but now they're short on property for the density, so they'd like to have this
Okay.
small acreage back. And again, we don't want to maintain it, so.
All right. Questions? Any other questions?
So, like I said, since the vacation goes to property owners on either side, have the adjacent owners the adjacent owners not really directly benefiting from this been notified?
You know, with the vacation, we do, put a notice in the paper, but there's no requirement to give specific notice to
That they will pick
adjoining.
up 5 more feet of
Right,
property?
they will pick up 5 more feet.
Okay. Any other questions?
On the ordinance 2649, correct? You can bring
Yes.
that up. It says 2 feet by 70-foot strip. Should be 10 foot by 70-foot strip. Second line down.
Yeah.
Wow.
Vacating a 2 foot by 70-foot strip.
Yeah, that's. I'll fix that one as well. You just want to make in your motion that original be made.
Okay.
Go ahead with it.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance number 2649, vacating a strip of excess public right-of-way located directly north of the existing Shawnee Street, located directly north of the existing Shawnee Street and to the north of 82nd Street, with the correction in the ordinance language to indicate it to be a strip of land approximately 10 feet by 70 feet.
Do we need to have the public hearing first?
Yeah, I was just about to.
Oh,
Thank you, Rob.
never mind, I retract my motion.
All right. We're,
We're in discussion now.
we're,
Yes.
yeah. All right. Without any further comments, then I'll officially open the public hearing. Anyone wishing to offer comment, please come forward and state your name and address. I'm not seeing anybody, so I'll close the public hearing on the right-of-way vacation. And now we're ready for a motion.
All right, I'll try it again. I'll make a motion to adopt ordinance number 2649, vacating excessive public right-of-way located directly north of the existing Shawnee Street and to the north of 82nd Street, with the correction in the language of the ordinance to be a strip of land approximately 10 feet by 70 feet wide.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion of the motion? Roll call, please.
Lane.
Yes.
Hanamichael.
Yes.
Daniels.
Yes.
Tripp.
Yes.
McMoran.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Item D, consider a community development block grant for, project for 2026.
All right, thank you, Mayor. This actually will be a public hearing item. I will go through the staff report on this. We did talk about this last time, and we were pleasantly surprised that much of Old DeSoto is now eligible for community development block grants. This is a good grant program. There's no match or anything. It is just a 100% grant to the city for infrastructure improvements in areas with low to moderate incomes. So one thing that we did talk about was improving the sidewalk, and we're going to dovetail, talk with Joe and Martin about how to benefit the city's portion that we're going to be doing this year, which took bids and was approved by council at the last meeting. And so I actually walked a lot of these streets myself. You've got some pictures in the end of your packet or on your item for suggested areas which sidewalks could be improved. And one thing that I was trying to do was find long stretches that we could go ahead and just replace the whole sidewalk. Beyond some of these that I've shown, it's going to be then start, pieces and parts of certain streets, because there are some areas that we have improved throughout the city over time. So with that, I've recommended to the council that we submit the community development block grant for 2026 with items 1 and 2 in there, which is north on the west side of Delaware Street between 83rd and 82nd, and the west side of Wyandotte between 83rd and 82nd. And you do have pictures of those in your council and mayor's staff report.
Any questions for Brad before we open the public?
And certainly I would say this, Mayor, these are just our recommendations. It's ultimately the council's decision. If there's other projects you think need to be adjusted or looked at, we certainly will carry those forward.
Well, my thoughts, if we can do long stretches, obviously these are sidewalks in need of some attention. We've got to start somewhere. It's a good spot to start. So I don't have any issues with the projects that you've proposed.
I was gonna say, I have no issue with them. I ran through these streets the other day and some of the sidewalks were actually just purely unusable.
Yeah, you're correct.
All right, any other comments? All right, I'm going to officially then open the public hearing. Anyone wishing to provide comment on the 2026 CDBG block grant application, please come forward, state your name and address. All right, I'm not seeing anybody, so I'm going to close that public hearing. Do we need a formal adoption of the project for you to proceed?
Yeah, we do need a motion, Mayor.
So I can have a motion to accept staff recommendation for projects 1 and 2 as presented.
I'll make a motion that we accept staff recommendations for the CDBG projects 1 and 2 as recommended.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion of the motion? Roll call, please.
Tripp. Didn't,
Did not hear me. I
no,
said
we
yes.
didn't. I'm sorry. Mac,
Okay.
Mac Moran,
Yes.
Lane,
Yes.
Hunter Michael.
Yes.
Daniels.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right. Item E, consider agreement with Clairview LLC not to protest future sewer benefit district.
Yes, council. This has to do with the annexation, and normally when we're considering annexation, if we see a need to for future public improvements, we will condition the annexation on the applicant agreeing not to protest a future benefit district for those public improvements. So we've identified that there likely will need to be sewer improvements in this area. So the agreement before you is the owner of the land that will be annexed into the city is indicating they will not protest a future benefit district.
Okay. Any questions for Patrick on the agreement? Not hearing any. I'm ready for a motion.
I'll make a motion, we authorize this mayor to enter into the agreement for no protesting of the benefit district.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion of the motion? Roll call, please.
Lane.
Yes.
Daniels.
Yes.
Hanamichael.
Yes.
Tripp.
Yes.
McMoryan.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right. Item F, consider ordinance 2650 annexing 120 acres of land into the city located north of 103rd Street and on the east and west of Evening Star Road.
Yes, council. We were approached by the applicant to annex 5 tracts of land equaling roughly 120 acres. The applicant, GW Weld, is here. I know Mike distributed a memo sort of giving some information about infrastructure. And I believe, Brad, 4 of these tracts are currently subject to being rezoned.
Yes, there's a rezoning application which will go before the planning commission on the 27th of May.
And is it being rezoned to M1, or do you remember?
3 of the tracks along K10, I guess it'd probably be easier to just walk over and show you which ones are being proposed for commercial, which are this one, and this one. And then this one's being proposed as R3, multifamily.
Thank you. But with a voluntary annexation, the requirements are that the property touch an existing boundary of the city, even if it's just at one corner of the tracks. We've confirmed that to be true, and also that the landowners sign a consent for annexation, which we have received that. So with that, I'll stand for any questions.
Okay. Questions from council?
So the agreement to not protest the benefit district that we just approved is it aligns with this.
Yes.
The annexation request included a tract 5 that was inadvertently excluded, but the agreement to not protest a benefit district document did not include that.
Yes, I included the same legal for both documents, the annexation ordinance and the agreement not to protest the benefit
Okay,
district.
so the one that we would have actually approved, because they're not tied together in the packet. I just want to make sure that we.
Right, no, the originals that the mayor will sign, those have the
We'll have that.
updated legal. Yep,
Okay, it'll have the track 5.
correct.
All right.
Any other question, any questions?
I'll make a motion, we approve ordinance number 2649, annexation specific land of the city of DeSoto.
And I'll second that.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion of the motion? Roll call, please.
McMoryan.
Yes.
Mayor Walker.
Yes?
Tripp.
Yes.
Lane.
Yes.
Hanamichael.
Yes.
Daniels.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Item G, consider ordinance 2651 levying special assessments on properties benefited by 95th Street Sewer Benefit District improvements.
Yes, council, you previously approved this sewer benefit district. We refer to it as the 95th Street Benefit District. So the process for tonight, the landowners that are part of this benefit district were provided notice indicating that a public hearing would be held this evening for the purpose of the city council hearing any objections to the assessments to be made against the property. That's the purpose of the public hearing. Following the public hearing, you will have the opportunity to pass the ordinance which levies the maximum assessments on the properties, although there will be no collection at this point. That comes later after the project is complete. So would recommend opening the public hearing to hear any objections at this point. And Kevin Wimpy, the city bond counsel, is also online if you have any questions for him.
Okay, so just as a matter of clarification, if these assessments are based on estimates, current estimates at the time, if the constructed project varies from that estimate, what happens to these?
They'll be adjusted.
Okay.
Well,
Downward.
they can't go
Right,
up.
They can't go up.
That would be adjusted down to reflect any savings in
Yeah,
construction that
right.
might be realized.
Yep.
Okay?
These are maximum assessments.
max.
But could go down.
Yeah.
I just wanted to get that. All right. If there are no other comments before we open the public hearing, I will go ahead and open the public hearing. If you would like to offer comment regarding this item, please come forward and state your name and address. All right, I'm not seeing anybody who wish to offer comment, so I'm going to go ahead and close the public hearing. Return to council discussion. Any further comments from council or questions? If not, we're ready for a motion.
I'll make a motion, we approve ordinance 2651 for the levying of maximum assessments for the 95th Street Sewer Benefit District and providing for the collection of the same following the completion of the project.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion of the motion? Roll call, please.
McMorrin,
Yes.
Hunamichael,
Yes.
Daniels,
Yes.
Tripp,
Yes.
Lane.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, thank you. Item H, consider ordinance 2652, providing for economic development grant to AA Land Devco LLC.
Yes, council, I may allow Mike to chime in on this. But what this pertains to is this property, an 80-acre tract, initially was included in the Sunflower Redevelopment Sewer Benefit District. And then later, it was determined that at least a portion of the property would be better served by the 95th Street Sewer Benefit District. So the property was subject to both benefit districts. So staff's suggestion with the approval of the owner of the land was to have them pursue an economic development grant, which I'll let Mike explain how it
Right.
we believe is equitable to the landowner.
Yeah, there's a bit of math here, but it's just arithmetic, there's not calculus. So I did provide a little bit of additional detail on how we got there. So in essence, the entire 80-acre parcel is already in the SRL benefit district. That's set. What we did for the 95th Street benefit district was we included the northern half of the parcel. And that's largely because it flows naturally toward the north. It is possible, but not cheap, to serve the entire parcel with the SRL benefit district. That line's along the south end of the project. The one that's planned for the 95th Street benefit district would be toward the north end. If the developer wanted to serve his entire property with just the south, with the SRL, he would have to, the sewers would have to be unusually deep, and so there's a cost associated with that. And the reason we felt like we're compelled to give the grant is because the owner has a very good case to make that we would not be able to force him into the 95th Street benefit district. Any judge all day long would say, yeah, you can't have him in both. He's already benefits by the other. So it is in the city's interest to have this property contribute to the 95th Street because it lowers the per acre cost on the 95th Street district. And because we have impacts to existing residents and multiple owners with interest, we felt compelled to provide the grant that would, in essence, lower the overall cost of the 95th Street benefit district. And what this does, and the number that the math comes up with, is the maximum assessment for one minus the other minus this extra sewer depth cost. The figure is $469,046.64. That's the Economic Development Grant Award. In essence, you can think of that like that's the city's at-large contribution to the 95th Street Sewer Benefit District. Essentially, that's how the whole mechanism kind of works, and that's why we feel it's fair and appropriate to do that this time. Again, the owner's been very cooperative the whole time. They have development plans for the property, and just wanted to be made essentially whole back to where he would have been had the 95th Street district not happened. So that's as succinct as I can tell that part of the story. There is math in the ordinance, and there's math there on the explanation memo I provided.
Questions from council?
So in short, this isn't cash out of general budget or our budgets.
Correct.
This is basically refunding his assessment in a sense from what would be the southern portion to kind of be applied to the northern portion.
Absolutely, you could think of it that way. Yeah, that's a good way to
It's just
think
kind
of
of
it too.
simple,
Yeah.
wrap your heads around.
Yeah, and practically, we could choose to finance this grant within the overall financing for the 95th Street District, and just pay that portion of that assessment. But that's another way to think about it.
Any other questions? We're ready for a motion.
I'll make a motion, we approve ordinance 2647, a home rule ordinance of the city of DeSoto, Kansas, authorizing the issuance of a general obligation bond to provide funds for the prepayment of certain special assessments of the SRL Sewer Benefit District and the 95th Street Sewer Benefit District.
It's actually ordinance 2652.
2652? Okay, so same motion, but ordinance 2652.
All right. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion of the motion? Roll call, please.
Lane.
Yes.
Hanamichael.
Yes.
Daniels.
Yes.
Tripp.
Yes.
McMurray.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right. Are we ready to circle back to ordinance 2648?
Patrick, did you upload that on the? I got your email.
No,
I can
but
PD
I'll do that right now.
Okay, I can PDF it real fast. I just haven't had. I
Yeah,
just got it.
I can't access my email. Not that I would want to.
Yeah, right.
But I did modify it to correctly state M1 instead of the C2. I've emailed the ordinance to Brandon, and I'll,
If you give me like 30 more seconds, tap dance, I will have this up.
perfect, thanks, Brandon.
Yeah. Give me a second.
Is it going on the council packet folder, Brandon?
Yes, I'm PDFing it as we speak. Just waiting for it to finish.
Is it a new item or replacing the existing?
I am throwing it on the folder right now. I believe it. I'm not. Let's see where to go. I think it's the second item there.
Is
Yeah.
it here?
Agenda item 4B. The second item that I uploaded. There we go. I think that's right.
M1, yeah, 2648. Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any further discussion of item 4B, ordinance 2648?
I was gonna say mine's not refreshing right now, so.
You have it?
So is it the same as what was there, just,
Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
changing the references.
okay, I'll take a shot at it. I'll make a motion, we approve ordinance number 2648, an ordinance providing for the amendment of the official zoning map for the city of DeSoto to change the zoning of approximately 8.6 acres at 9850 Sunflower Road from R1 residential to M1 light industrial.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion of the motion? Roll call, please.
Mayor Walker,
Yes.
McMoran,
Yes.
Daniels,
Yes.
Hanamichael.
Yes.
Lane.
Yes.
Tripp.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay. I think that completes the new business portion of our agenda. Executive session, do we have anything?
No.
Okay. Advisory reports, city administrator,
Nothing tonight, Mayor, thank you.
city attorney,
Nothing for me, thank you.
Brad, city planner,
Oh, nothing, Mayor.
city engineer.
Nothing tonight, sir.
All right.
Kind of question though, while we've got the
Sure.
city engineer up. Joe, what is the schedule for the commissioning of the regional pump station? Just curious.
Oh, so that's going on for the lift station?
Yeah.
Yep, so the one by the dock work, that's going on right now. They hope to have that online, first part of June. So they've been going through commissioning, they'll be doing the pumps here in 2 weeks. But they intend to, yeah, they anticipate to have everything up and running by probably first part mid-June.
And so when will the service of 5 Mile Sewer begin?
They're
With
all
that,
done, the pump
with
stations and all
with the
the-
commissioning of the pump station? Okay. One other thing, at the we've talked about the intersection 95th and Lexington, and we lost the street light that's would be on the east side when they redid the power line over there. So could you look into getting that street light back on the east side of that of the intersection?
95th and Lexington?
95th and Lexington, yeah. Because the through road of Lexington is lit very, very well, but then when you make the corner, you go from a really well-lit street to a very, very dark street.
Okay.
And it was, just a light on the power pole before. Thanks.
Okay. Assistant City Administrator, Brandon, what do you have tonight?
I shot you guys an email this week. Our second meeting in June is scheduled for June 19th or Juneteenth, which is a federal holiday. So we need to reschedule that council meeting. I have heard from a couple of you on kind of staff's recommendation to move the meeting to June 18th. But I wanted to kind of open it up and have you guys look at your schedule.
Okay.
We probably need to have this date set sooner than later. I think we're running into some issues with public hearings and notifying the public. So my suggestion would be June 18th at 7 o'clock at the city council. So just a day earlier.
I'm good with the 18th.
I mean, I wouldn't have made the 19th or the 18th. I won't be here,
Oh,
so
got it, okay.
either way, I'm not gonna be able to make it.
Is there-
18th 's good for me.
Okay.
Dan, I replied to 18.
18, okay. We could certainly do that. So what I'll do is I will put some on consent next time because we have to schedule a meeting, cancel the other one. I'll just put the legalese
We'll
together.
need 4
I was gonna say,
council.
where I was going with that is with Courtney's position open,
Oh, good point.
Victoria gone, do we have a quorum?
No, we need 4. So could you do it by telephone first?
Yeah, I could do it virtually.
Yeah,
That'll work.
perfect.
Alright.
Okay, yeah, I'll put some on consent for the next meeting for the 18th. Okay, thank you. That's it, Mayor.
All right, thank you. Council comments. Kevin, would you like to start tonight?
Sure, just a quick one. Kind of relates to the comment that the made during the open mic time. I don't know if all of you saw the Business Journal releases today, but article out. The headline is Tesla tells Panasonic, "Hurry up in DeSoto." Panasonic's main customer wants the Japanese company to move a little faster, getting its gigantic EV plant in DeSoto up and running. Says they're pivoting to using domestically produced cells for the Model 3. Quote, as we've been told by our customer to get Kansas moving quickly, we're hurrying to do so, Panasonic CEO Yuki Kamisi said. So good news for the Panasonic plant.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you. Rob, anything tonight?
Joe, at the pump station, do we have any clue on JCPRD finishing or reconnecting the trail and getting that trail active again?
Yes, the kids is working on that right now.
Do we have a timeline
They hope to have everything done by Memorial Day. That's their schedule
on
right now.
Memorial Day?
And
Okay.
that's been communicated to Johnson County Park Department so that they can make people aware when the trail's gonna be opened up.
Okay.
Follow up on that, meeting with Parks, they are working, they've actually bid that section to connect Kill Creek Park to the end of that once, so they're rebidding it now. And hope to have that ready by, they're extending construction season, so it likely will be into next year before that's ready, but that is under bid and on the way. Anything else, Rob?
Nope.
Sorry, I jumped in
You're
on
fine.
you. Victoria, anything tonight?
No.
All right, thank you. Danny?
Nothing, Mayor.
All right, I have one item. Oh, I'm sorry, Courtney, I forgot all about you.
That's all right. It's hard to do this virtually. I know it's always harder, and hopefully you can hear me
Yeah.
okay without too much of a funky delay on that side. But tonight is my last meeting as councilwoman, and although I hate that I'm having to do this and say farewell virtually, I'm not going far, and I don't plan to be far away, and plan to still be connected with the community. It would not be an overstatement to say that, you know, stepping down from this position was the thing that weighed heavily on my decision as we were deciding to buy our new home. But as I think many of you will understand, in the end, we kind of had to prioritize what we wanted our future to look like in our new place. But I did want to say that serving here on the council has been a joy and a privilege. And I just wanted to highlight a few things before leaving this governing body, which I just have been thoroughly impressed not only with this governing body, but also with our staff and the way that everyone has worked together during this time of tremendous growth and change, which I think has been incredibly positive. When I was campaigning, by far the biggest thing I heard from residents was concern about losing our small town feel and the community that makes DeSoto so unique. And even though we've grown over the past 2 years, what I've seen is rather than losing that sense of small town, we've gained more small businesses. We've brought more people together. And, you know, last week on Friday, when we were all gathered, so many of us from this council were there enjoying local beverages with bags full of local produce, listening to live music on Main Street. I don't know if there's anything more quintessentially small town Americana than that Friday night. I also wanted to say tonight, you know, I heard a lot from residents over my time about infrastructure and roads, particularly 83rd Street. And now, thanks to the economic development and investment in our community, we're now sitting with a larger road maintenance budget by far than we were a year or 2 years ago. And the 83rd Street study has equipped this council and staff with what they need to start taking the next steps. I'm excited to see the future of the Riverfest master plan and how that's going to allow us to, in DeSoto, take advantage of something truly unique, having the Kansas River part of our community and our downtown. It's with great pride that I know that the two largest economic development projects in the history of Kansas are happening right here in DeSoto. And I don't think it's coincident. I think it speaks to the combination of incredible assets, incredible people, infrastructure, a great governing body team, and the incredible education we have in our high school and surrounding higher education facilities that are in and around DeSoto. I could definitely keep going, but it's something I've really been proud to be a part of here in DeSoto, and that will always hold a place in my heart to have been a small part of some of the large and small things that have made a difference from our community. So I'll just say, keep leaning in, keep engaging, keep talking and listening to each other, and I look forward to seeing how this community continues to grow.
Thank you, Courtney. I have one small item of business relative to Riverfest Park. We need to order the baskets for the disc golf course. It's an expenditure about $15,000. We've gotten the quotes for that. And all this money is donated, but I think it's still important that we go through the normal spending process for that. So I'd like to get those ordered because there is a lead time on those, but I would like authorization from the council to, let me pull
So this will be authorizing donated money to be spent
Right.
to purchase.
to purchase baskets for the Riverfest
Because it's
disc
over the
golf
spending
course.
limit.
Right. Accept the proposal from Disc Store for $15,388 for the purchase of 31, or, I don't know. I got the wrong, 18, it's 18 holes by 2, 36 plus 37 baskets.
From who in the amount of?
The total amount's 37 from the disc store. Total amount is $15,388.84.
$15,300.
$88.84.
I'll make a motion, we approve the purchase of 37 baskets from the disc store in the amount of $15,388.84 using the donated funds.
Correct.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Lane,
Yes.
Hanamichael.
Yes.
Daniels,
Yes.
Tripp,
Yes.
McMoran. Motion carries.
So just as an update, there's still funds remaining to buy. They'll come back with quotes for benches and some signage to finish that course out. So I think that's it.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, same sign. All right, we're adjourned.